Every day like it was New Year's, I'm gonna open my eyes like it was the first time. Let this miracle of life bring me alive. I'm gonna dance every time that I hear the birds sing. Wanna fly just as high, Jah, give me the wings. I am infinite potential and all that it brings. Love of the universe, luminous beings. We are love of the universe, luminous beings. We are the love.
Hello, beautiful souls and beautiful ears. I know that sometimes each ear can be a little bit different, and it's important to accept the fact, to accept that we all have different shaped ears. We all are different in one way or another. I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't judge a book by its cover. You should get to know the pages within and explore what that's all about. Today we have a wonderful guest, Amy Pinder, to talk about neurodiversity in honor of Autism Awareness. Amy Pinder is a co-founder, owner, and executive director of Inclusion Festival, which is a really amazing festival that I think everybody should hear about. Amy is a yogi, she's a hula hooper, she's an arts enthusiast and speech language pathologist. She has over 10 years of experience working with individuals with neurodevelopmental differences. This guest that we're having on here today is very passionate about infusing the healing aspects of the festival scene into her work. And she's going to be building community. She's spreading love with that kind of healing aspect of the festival scene. She regularly incorporates joyful and play-based movement like yoga, juggling, and hoop dance into all of her practices. These activities that she's doing encourages her clients to effectively communicate through meaningful, experience-based activities that promote mindfulness and well-being. It also encourages appropriate forms of play throughout the lifespan. This guest, Amy Pinder, she has trained as a grounded kids yoga instructor, a mindful educator, and this is something really amazing, holistic circus therapy provider. How many times have you heard that? Probably not many. So Amy is a really interesting, really amazing person. She does a lot of great things for this world, and you'll learn all about it in this episode, which is going to be all about neurodiversity. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Please share this episode with your friends and family, anybody who you think would enjoy it. And thank you so much. We appreciate it. Enjoy this interview with Amy Pinder. Welcome to the podcast, Amy. It's really great to have you on the podcast instead of the radio this time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. It's really, really cool to see what you're doing with everything. And, I'm just really excited because you're a person that I really enjoy talking to.
Thanks, CeeLo. You too.
Thank you. So we've come to talk about neurodiversity and looking at some of your background information through the website of Inclusion Festival, which we'll talk about later. You have a lot of education experience with all different neurological, maybe disorders. How did you become interested in learning about these and helping people through them?
Well, this is a great topic for this month because it's Autism Awareness Month. And it was autism that I originally found really, really fascinating while I was in college. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. And there was an ad for a family that had two boys with autism, and they needed someone to take care of their children. And I responded, and I became very, very close with this family. And I learned so much about what autism is and what neurological differences are. And I was totally sure after getting to know this family and these boys that that's what I wanted to do. And it kind of brought things full circle for me because way before I met that family, when I was a kid myself, I was really interested in people with special needs and always wanting to help them. I wanted to be like Annie Sullivan, who taught Helen Keller. I idolized her. And I worked with kids when I was a kid growing up. I babysat. I worked at summer camps. I always gravitated towards the kids that were different, the ones that were biting. And I was the one patiently explaining that we use our teeth for chewing and eating and nourishing ourselves, and not for biting and hurting others. And so connecting with this family in college was a strong reminder that this was something that I'd always been doing and that I'd always wanted to do and been interested in. And it made me sure that I knew what my path was.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Helen Keller. Was that the person who was blind and deaf?
It was, yes.
And how how would somebody go about communicating with somebody who can't hear or see?
Well, she actually has a really, really fascinating story. That's what I was going to say. It's just she's so fascinating and inspirational. Her parents had no idea what to do to help her communicate and function in a world for people that can see and hear. And it wasn't until they brought in a teacher who was partially blind herself. That was Annie Sullivan. She came and lived with the family, and her job was to educate Helen. And it took a long time and a lot of perseverance and dedication, but she ended up using sign language with Helen's hand held in hers to convey that all words, that all things have words, that have symbols, that have meaning, and that they can be used to convey our thoughts and feelings and ideas. And it worked. It eventually clicked for her. By feeling the hand shapes that Annie was making, Helen was able to make that connection.
Yeah. That is inspiring, because it's like some people may look at that situation and think that's impossible, but for somebody to come in and be like, it might take a lot of work, but we can do it. I think that's a pretty inspiring story.
Yeah, it was. And then I kind of got the opportunity to be an Annie Sullivan of such, but for a child with autism. After college, I moved to California and I homeschooled a girl with autism for 2 years. And I was kind of like her Annie Sullivan, because I was with her all day, every day. And similar to Helen, people, aren't sure about what to expect from people with autism, whether or not they are capable of contributing to society and having meaningful jobs and experiences, and they absolutely are. And I was able to help this girl discover what her interests and passions were and help her communicate with her family and express herself in a way that she never had before. So that was a really cool experience that I got to have. Yeah, that sounds like a really great one. When you were going to college before that, were you going to college for neurodiversity or neurological things? Well, I was studying special education, and I was really interested in autism. And neurodiversity is a term that's newer to the field of autism. Neurodiversity is the idea that all neurological differences like autism and like learning disabilities, ADHD, sensory processing challenges, any difference in people's brains, that it's a natural and normal part of the human genome and that it adds value to society. So it's, in this vantage point, these neurological differences, neurodiversity actually enhances what we're capable of as humans, as a society, instead of viewing people with such neurological differences as a hindrance or in need of healing or fixing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people with autism are either like really super smart, or they're super artful, or they have like some really like special ability. Is this what it's like for everybody with autism?
Well, if you ask me, that's what it's like for everybody. I think we all have these potentials and talents and things to discover within ourselves that add value to our society. And I think people with autism are no different. They absolutely have special talents. But again, everybody has special talents. And each person with and without autism is very unique and individual.
Yeah, touche. I really like that. So I believe you also have education and training in holistic wellness. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a speech language therapist, and I work with students and children and adults with autism and other developmental differences all day, every day. It's my passion. I love going to work each day because I love the company of these students, and I love helping them to unlock their potential and find out what makes them tick and what's going to be the best way for them to express themselves. And holistically, I like to think about all aspects of their development and what's going to help them be the best version of themselves. So even though I'm a speech language therapist and, my role in the setting where I work is to help students communicate, there's so many foundational aspects that enable us to be able to communicate. We have to understand our body and feel comfortable in our bodies in order to communicate effectively. And so along those lines, I've come to really believe that yoga and other holistic therapies, and especially movement-based therapies, are really, really powerful for children and adults with autism to help them understand and experience all of their body's capabilities and where their body is oriented and how to use their body to communicate in different mediums and modalities. So I do a lot of movement, a lot of yoga, and hula hooping with my students to address the needs of their whole being.
Yeah. So you believe that like meditation and yoga and the hula hooping really helps people with these disabilities? Yeah,
autism is, in my opinion, not at all a disorder of intellect or a difference that people with autism are intelligent and they have a lot of difficulty using their body, motor planning, and getting their body and their brain to work as a team, if you will. So although they might have an intention or an idea in their mind, they aren't able to motor plan the words or the motions to speak or point to convey their ideas. So things like yoga and meditation allow them to feel grounded and regulated and understand how to move and use their body to convey their ideas. And I've seen really, really powerful results from combining yoga and mindfulness strategies and mindful movements like hula hooping with programs that support the development of communication and self-expression skills.
So, I guess, how did you think of doing hula hooping with this?
Well, hula hooping is something that I discovered for myself that helped me feel really grounded, and it was actually the first time that I felt really coordinated, and it clicked. I loved it, and that's something that I started doing as a hobby, and I thought, well, if I love it, and I'm an adult, this is an age-appropriate form of play that, we can engage in across our lifespan. So I decided to pick up a hula hoop and show it to some of the students that I work with, and the results were amazing. Either they were captivated by it, or they wanted to watch, they wanted to try, they wanted to do, but it was really, really well received. The first time I shared it with students at my school, we had trouble getting them to leave the activity to go eat lunch. Usually lunch is the most motivating part of their day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I knew that I was onto something, and over the course of the last few years, I've built upon that experience, that engagement that I saw by sharing hoop play with them, and created a hula hoop yoga program, if you will, combining yoga philosophy and mindful movement and some hula hoop tricks. And the results have been really, really incredible. It really helps them feel grounded, like I've been saying, and understand body orientation and feel empowered and enjoy recreation. And all of these things are foundations that we need in order to express ourselves and even feel motivated to communicate and to persist through communication challenges, which are abundant for people with autism.
Yeah, I understand. This all sounds so beautiful. Where do you do this stuff? Do you travel, or is there a specific spot in the country that you do all this?
Well, I worked at a school, a really unique place that embraces alternative approaches to therapy and learning. It's called Celebrate the Children. I really believe in their method, so I drive an hour each way to get there. And outside of work, I share this. I have a private practice, and you can read more about what I do on my own personal website. It's circlesofcommunication.com. And I also share this at music and wellness festivals with people of all ages and abilities, and teach a weekly yoga class in my community as well that has people with and without autism who attend the class. And I incorporate all the things I'm talking about.
Do you ever find anybody uncomfortable with each other, like people with the special needs with people without, or is it kind of all really flowy?
Yeah, initially I do. People tend to have a lot of apprehension and just, are not sure how to respond to people who are different from them. And that's something that I think goes across the board. It applies to, race and gender and ability differences. They're all things that people are not always comfortable and sure to approach. But what I find is unifying activities like yoga and hula hooping and music. Music is really powerful one. People are able to relax and come together and find common ground. So even if I see the discomfort at first, these kinds of activities really help to bridge the gap and help people find things in common that they never would have realized that they had in common. Indeed.
I worked a while ago. I worked with people with Alzheimer's, a lot of old folks with Alzheimer's. And it's a little bit different, but I definitely noticed, like, when we would go out, people, like you said, would be apprehensive. They would be a little uncomfortable. But once you all kind of like experience an event or something as unifying as music, everybody begins to see that we're all the same underneath, and even though some of us may look different, then it's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. So back to the theme of Autism Awareness Month and neurodiversity, that these variations among us, they add value to our society, and with love and compassion and understanding and acceptance, we can support one another, and we can all have a role that's meaningful and that again adds value. So that's my message, and I think that's what people with autism would like for everyone to understand, is that, with patience and acceptance and understanding that they're capable and they're intelligent, and that there's so much potential for us to all support one another.
Yeah. Is there anything that drives you mad about some misconceptions about people with special needs?
Yeah, that they're not intelligent. They're all intelligent, and they all have gifts and talents, and they all have challenges, and we all have challenges. So, people kind of putting them, in a certain category is only capable of X, Y, or Z, and not, accepting or that they might have limitless potential, that we all have limitless potential. So underestimating, it's really important to presume competence.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned from going through all these experiences and all this education on this issue?
I think that I've learned as much from the individuals that I've worked with as I hope I've taught them. That we can all learn from one another has been the most powerful lesson for me, and that's what I aim to share with others who haven't had the experiences that I've had.
Now, we're doing this interview because it is Autism Awareness Month and because we want to promote this, but we also want to promote your festival, Inclusion Festival. Could you tell the audience what is Inclusion Festival?
Yeah, Inclusion Festival is going to be the nation's first sensory and autism-friendly music and wellness festival. And the idea came about because of all of the things that we've been talking about, wanting people with and without disabilities to have the opportunity to be in a shared space together, engaging in meaningful activities that are unifying. And so that's what we've created. We've created a music and wellness festival that includes everyone and has something to offer everyone.
Yeah, where is this festival going to be?
The first one is going to be at a festival grounds called Mountain Sky in German, Pennsylvania, which is about 15 minutes north of Scranton. It's a really, really beautiful venue.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to being a part of the festival. What are some juicy details that maybe everybody's been asking about?
Well, lots of people ask who's playing. We have some exciting and unique musical acts. Ones that I'm most excited about. We're going to have a 10-piece eclectic band that's from the region, and they're going to be performing what they call a Dust Bowl opera, which will be storytelling through music. So it'll be a combination of a concert and a theatrical experience, and that's meant for all ages. That'll be a lot of fun. And we're also featuring artists who themselves have disabilities or have been really inspired by individuals with disabilities. We have an underground hip-hop artist from Philadelphia who's critically acclaimed, and he has a son with autism, and he's written about that in his music and has some really powerful words to share. And we have an individual with perfect pitch who's a pianist and has autism. He's going to be performing, and we have a young woman with cerebral palsy who's put together a reggae band that sings about inclusion. They have an inclusion song, and they're together on a mission to share what inclusion is and why it can benefit us all with the world.
Cool. And that fits perfectly with the title of your festival.
It does, and it was unplanned, so things have been just falling in line with this festival, reminding myself and my co-producer, Leah Barron, that we're on the right path. It's been really, really neat and rewarding experience.
I've noticed some of your posts on social media. It seems like you guys are getting a lot of positive feedback.
We are. A lot of people seem really excited about this idea. It seems autism's really prevalent, and it seems that everybody knows someone with autism, but not everybody understands what that means or how they should treat a person with autism or you know, what autism looks like in general. So this is an opportunity for people to be together and learn and experience what autism looks like, and that we can all share in these common experiences that can benefit us all. So some of the other experiences are going to be workshops that we can all find tangible wellness strategies from, workshops about mindfulness and meditation, yoga, hula hooping, drumming, art.
So it sounds a lot like a transformational festival that I went to a bunch of them, and a transformational festival is just a festival with art and music, but it also has the workshops. So it sounds like it sounds a lot like you're kind of blending a transformational festival, which is usually less mainstream, into like a more general kind of environment with people from all walks of life and everybody with special needs. And it sounds like this is going to be a really unique event.
Thanks. Yeah, you described it well. That's exactly what inspired it, was the positive experiences that myself and Leah have had at transformational festivals, as you called them, and traditional music festivals, and wanting to share that with others and also convey the social message that we've been talking about neurodiversity and about the value in everyone and about the benefits of everyone supporting everyone. So that's what this is all about.
Awesome. What keeps you motivated to keep going and to keep pushing forward and to keep helping people with special needs?
It's really interesting. I love it. I find commonalities with myself. I learn about myself by doing it, because the things that help me ultimately end up helping them, and vice versa. I think the whole world could benefit from learning to be more mindful and strengthening their mind-body connection. And sometimes I think that these neurological differences that have become increasingly prevalent in our society are, in a way, reminders that we need to slow down and better understand ourselves and our bodies, and that each and every one of us has a purpose. So for so long, people with special needs have been kind of cast aside as a problem in society. I think that we're all here for a reason, and we all have a purpose, and that it's our responsibility as humans to work together to find our common purposes. And so that's what keeps me motivated.
Well, awesome. In honor of Autism Awareness Month, what is one thing that we could all do to, better the environment for people with special needs?
Besides come to Inclusion Festival? I think getting to know people with autism, having an open mind when you see anyone who looks different from you, catching yourself in moments of judgment and pausing and breathing and noticing your thoughts before being judgmental, because we encounter people that are different every day, and being mindful about our judgments and opinions, I think, could have a really positive effect on society as a whole.
Well, I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I thank you so much for joining us here on the Bring Me to Life podcast. We've had a few interviews on the radio, but it's nice to get you over here on this side of it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So you said Inclusion Festival is one way that people can help the environment for everybody with special needs. You said, can you tell us again the dates and the location and how people can find information and get tickets?
Yeah, absolutely. It's July 28th and 29th at Mountain Sky Festival Grounds in German, Pennsylvania, just 15 minutes north of Scranton. You can buy tickets on our website, www.inclusionfestival.com. We currently have our early bird tickets on sale, so you can buy early and save. And if you want to support what we're doing, but you can't make it to the festival, you can donate to our GoFundMe. It's GoFundMe.com/Inclusion Festival. And all of the money that we raise through our GoFundMe is going to be used to fund the attendance of families who need financial support in order to attend.
Oh, I think it's just so beautiful and so awesome that you and your team are doing this. I think it's great. Everybody, please check it out. Amy, thank you so much for being here, and I just hope that this all goes really well for you.
Yeah, I know it will. Thanks for your help. You're going to be such a wonderful presence at the festival, and you're going to help so many people feel comfortable and oriented as a part of our hospitality and education team.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody listening, Shannon Shine and I, Suleiman, will definitely be there doing some workshops and just helping everybody, like Amy said, feel comfortable. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Amy. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks for shining on with us.